The year 2025 will live forever in Jamaica's memory, not only because it broke records, but because it broke the nation's heart. It was the year Jamaica reached its strongest economy since independence, and the year Jamaica faced its most destructive natural disaster in a century. Two realities: one island, one leader standing in the middle of both storms. And that leader is Andrew Holness. Before we get to the hurricane that changed everything, let's open the first chapter of this story, the Jamaica that existed before October 28th. A Jamaica that felt like it was finally moving forward after decades of struggle. For nearly 10 years, Holness had pushed a simple idea: fix the economy first. And little by little, the numbers began to tell their own story. Debt that once felt like a mountain pressing on the nation, more than 120% of GDP, was pushed down to about 62% by 2025. That was the lowest in 3 decades. Unemployment fell to 3.3%, the lowest in Jamaica's history. Youth unemployment, once nearly 25%, dropped to around 10%. Investors were coming in. Business confidence was rising. For 9 straight years, the government kept its promise. No new net taxes. The Jamaican dollar held relatively stable. Credit agencies upgraded the country's outlook. Jamaica was being praised internationally for fiscal discipline, which many believed was impossible. But it wasn't just numbers. Scores of Jamaicans could see progress. New roads, new bridges, new water pipelines, new housing projects, new broadband lines. The politics of tangibility, as some analysts called it, meant people could drive on progress, walk on progress, and reside inside progress. On September 3rd, 2025, Andrew Holness made political history when he led the Jamaica Labour Party to a 3rd consecutive general election win, something no other JLP leader had ever achieved in 82 years, 35 seats to 28. A moment that rewrote Jamaica's political record book. Supporters celebrated, opponents were stunned. And the Holness brand, one prime minister, dominated the narrative. But neither the government nor the people had any idea that just weeks later, Jamaica would be forced into the biggest test of leadership in its modern history. Because on October 28th, 2025, the sky turned black over Jamaica, and Hurricane Melissa arrived, making landfall in the parish of Westmoreland. From the moment it formed, Melissa looked dangerous, but by the time it reached Jamaica, it became a monster the country had never seen before. A Category 5 storm with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour and a world record wind gust of 252 miles per hour, the highest ever recorded on Earth. It smashed into the western parishes with a violence that felt unreal. Homes exploded, roofs flew like paper, entire farms disappeared in minutes, power poles snapped like twigs, roads vanished under mud, stones, and uprooted trees. More than 191,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed. More than 200,000 homes were gone. Over 90,000 households were displaced. More than half the island's population was affected. Jamaica lost $8.8 billion in physical damage alone, nearly 41% of the nation's GDP. Schools were damaged or destroyed. Clinics were flooded. Several communities were cut off completely. No roads, no signal, no water, and little immediate help. For hours, Jamaica was a country in silence. And this was the moment that tested Holness more than anything in his political career. In the first hours after Melissa passed, he admitted something that many leaders around the world would never say publicly. The country was in a scramble. The disaster was so enormous that even the government's emergency plans were immediately overwhelmed. Holness toured the destruction by helicopter and on foot, moving through White House, Savannah Lamar, and other devastated areas. Farmers holding the remnants of a lifetime's work. Communities are trying to dig each other out, in some instances with their bare hands. He declared the entire island a disaster area, unlocking emergency powers and funding pathways, and he called for international support. The world answered, including members of the Caribbean community. Guyana's President Irfan Ali flew to Jamaica and committed to rebuilding 200 roofs in the hardest-hit communities, with the Guyana Defense Force leading the work. Prime Minister of Barbados Mia Mottley sent a full field hospital and garbage trucks to help with debris. Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell pledged manpower. The United States followed with more than $22 million in humanitarian support, a catastrophe bond. Long before Melissa, the Holness government had pushed for layers of financial protection, including a $150 million catastrophe bond and regional insurance from the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. When the storm hit, both triggered, bringing immediate liquidity to the government. It meant Jamaica had some cash to get started with the relief agenda. But crisis leadership is not perfect leadership, and Holness faced harsh criticism too. Some communities said relief distribution was too slow. Some complained that politics influenced where help went first, and social media amplified every frustration. Holness responded with a structured system to prevent double-claiming, fraud, and misdirection of donor funds. The government partnered with the Amber Group to launch supportjamaica.gov.jm, a secure platform for donations, volunteer registration, crisis reporting, and resource coordination. It raised $170 million Jamaican dollars within days. People uploaded photos, flagged blocked roads, and reported emergencies from their phones. It was a modern disaster response in real time. Slowly, painfully, the island began to move again. Electricity returned, schools reopened, food distribution stabilized, and the long rebuilding journey, still ongoing, began. So why does all of this make Andrew Holness Jamaica's Leader of the Year for 2025? Because leadership isn't measured only in calm years. Holness was the architect of the strongest Jamaican economy since independence, and his leadership during 2025, a year of extremes, showed something deeper, that resilience is not luck, it is preparation, it is a strategy, and it is leadership. If you found value in this documentary, subscribe to this channel, Impacting Jamaica, for more stories shaping Jamaica, the Caribbean, and the diaspora.